Many years ago, in the bustling University of Benin, there lived a beautiful young lady named Osas. Osas was a student of accountancy and was a very intelligent girl. She was focused on her studies and on graduating with a first class. Osas was from a very poor family and so had to support herself in school by selling bottled water after classes. Osas was not ashamed of the work she did to make an honest living, even though sometimes her roommates made fun of her and mocked her. Osas stayed in the school hostel and shared a room with two other ladies named Princess and Riona. Riona derived pleasure in teasing her whenever they were gisting and talking or even arguing in their room. Riona would say things like, Osas, you better do fast though. You know you need to go and sell water to make money to feed. So rather than spend time with us who have wealthy parents, you should get to work as soon as possible. Riona would say sneeringly, and she and Princess would burst out into laughter. Osas, on the other hand, never took offense. She was a focused young lady. She knew what she wanted, and not the insult of two mindless fellows would affect her pursuits. So things continued like this for Osas. She would go to classes in the morning and sell bottled water and drinks after classes, and then go to study her books at night. Osas was in her third year already and had only 1 year left. She was so happy and looking forward to graduating so that she could stand a chance at getting a better job and saving her family from poverty, especially her mother. Her roommate, Riona, was the only daughter of a wealthy chief named Ife, and he doted on his daughter and spoiled her silly. Chief Ife had a very beautiful relationship with his daughter, Riona. He would call his daughter every blessed night, and they would speak for hours, gisting and laughing. In short, anyone that saw Riona speaking on the phone would think that she was speaking to her boyfriend, not knowing that it was her father, because of how you would see her laughing and talking over the phone for hours. Chief Efe also always sent his daughter more money than she ever needed. Rihanna was practically living a soft girl life. She did not need a boyfriend to take care of her or make her feel loved because she was loved from home. Sometimes her father would spring up at her hostel unannounced with flowers and chocolates. Rihanna was a spoiled girl and her hostel mates envied her, and this made Rihanna very proud. So each time she came back with flowers that her dad had given her, she would mock Osas and say, God, thank you. Oh. Thank you for placing me in the kind of family that I came from. A rich, wealthy family, a loving father. Unlike some people who are from a very wretched family with no father, that they have to hawk pure water after classes just so they can feed. Omo, God punish poverty. Then Riona will go on and on talking about her father in admiration to Osas, telling her everything about him, where he likes to hang out, what he likes, what he dislikes, how he's such a perfect father. Riona would do all these things, laughing and mocking Osas. Initially, Riona's words did not affect Osas, but it was only a matter of time for Osas to start feeling inferior to Riona. She became ashamed of selling bottled water. Osas was becoming very sad and frustrated. She would lay awake in the night thinking about her life. God, why did you allow me to be born into a poor family? See my friend now. She was born into a wealthy family, into a loving family. See how her father loves and dotes on her. Better than a boyfriend would even do. What did Rihanna do to deserve such a loving family? Does she have two heads? Why was it not me that was in her shoes? Osas would say aloud to herself as she weeps and cries profusely. So life continued like this for Osas. But one day, Osas was out under the sun, hawking and selling bottled water, when she received a call from her sister. Her sister, Osaro, told her that their mother was sick and that she had to come back home immediately. Osas quickly packed her bottles of water and rushed back to the hostel, after which she packed a few clothes in a bag and rushed back home. Upon getting home, she saw her mother lying on the bed and looking very sick and frail. "Ah, Mama, please do not die on me. Ah, Mama," Osas said, crying profusely. And then she turned to her sister Osara and said, "What is wrong with Mama? Have you taken her to the hospital yet? What did the doctor say?" Osas asked all at once. The doctor said that she has cancer and that she needs to start chemotherapy as soon as possible. If not, she will die. And that we need at least 3 million naira to commence treatment now. Osaro replied, looking very sad. "Where in the world are we supposed to get 3 million naira from? Eh?" Osas said as she broke down in tears. Osas spent a few more days with her mom and sister before heading back to school. When she got back to her hostel, she narrated everything to her roommates, Riona and Princess, while crying. Princess felt very sorry for her and truly sympathized with her. But Riona simply replied and said, "Sorry, oh." Then Osas went further and asked Riona, saying, "Riona, please, can you loan me some money for my mother's treatment? Or please, can you help me beg your father to please loan me some money?" Osas said, crying, I beg, I don't have that kind of money. Besides, I cannot disturb my father over your mother's health issues. Is your mom and my dad not within the same age bracket? So what was she doing when my father was working so hard and making money? Please, I beg, I cannot disturb my father." Riona replied haughtily, Haba, Riona, how can you say such hurtful things to us? It's not fair now. If you don't want to give her the money, just say that you will not give her. Which one is comparing her mom to your dad? What nonsense. Princess interjected quickly. Meanwhile, Osa simply stared at Riona in shock. She could not believe all the hurtful things that Riona was saying to her. So in the days that followed, Osa stayed in her room crying and weeping. She couldn't even bring herself to attend lectures. She was devastated. She did not know what to do, but she knew that her mother could not die on her watch. Then suddenly, an idea occurred to her. She decided that she was going to speak to Chisom. Chisom was Osas's classmate, who was a very popular runs girl, who would usually speak to Osas, trying to convince her to join her in the line of her work. She would tell Osas, "Look at you, slaving away and hawking water on the university grounds just for peanuts. How much is your profit, Seth? Maybe 500 naira, 1,000 naira. When you can sell something better like your body and can even make as much as 1 million naira in one single night, depending on the kind of man that you sleep with." Chisom would say to Osas, trying to convince her. All this while, Osas was adamant about not selling her body for money. But she struggled within herself within these last few days, especially because her mother was sick. So she convinced herself that she had no choice. She had to do it. She couldn't stay and fold her hands and watch her mother die. So Osas begged Chisom to please link her up with a man so that she can make some money for her mother's treatment. And that was how Osas started sneaking out in the night with Chisom to sleep with men. Osas started exchanging her body for money. And with the money that she got, she was able to send money back home for her mother's treatment. So her mother was taken to the hospital and started receiving treatment. Osas was very ashamed of herself, of what she did. Each time she came back from one of her trips, she would break down in tears, crying and weeping profusely. Meanwhile, Riona continued to flaunt all the expensive things that her father had gifted her before Osas. Osas was so upset. She was angry with Riona and thought of a way to pay her back. And after a few weeks of giving it some thought, Osas came up with the best revenge plan. So a few months later, Osas no longer hid the fact that she slept with men for money. Osas was now a big girl and no longer even hawked water after school hours. The money that she made from exchanging her body for money was more than enough to take care of her mother's medical bills as well as her personal upkeep. By this time, Rihanna began to make fun of Osas even more, saying, some people say they are so poor that they have to sleep with men for money. Haba. Thank God for the kind of family that I was born into. Thank God that I have a rich father that can provide my needs without me having to sleep with men for money. Ha! Rihanna would say, mocking her roommate Osas. And this became the last straw that broke the camel's back. Osas was done. Osas was done with all the insults from Rihanna. Osas became more determined to deal with her. Osas already knew so much information about Chief Efe, Rihanna's father, because Rihanna wouldn't stop gushing about her father. Osas knew the spot where he hung out, his favorite food, and every single thing about him. But from all that Rihanna had told her about her father, Osas knew that Chief Efe was a very family-oriented man and loved his wife and family. I mean, if he loved and doted on his daughter, Rihanna, that much, then one could imagine how much he doted and spoiled his wife. So Osas knew that if she were to ever get Rihanna's father, Chief Efe, then she needed some kind of spiritual fortification. She needed Kaya Mata to be able to get Chief Efe's attention and keep him completely wrapped around her waist so that she could destroy Rihanna's perfect little family that she gushed about non-stop. So Osas told Chisom of her plans, and Chisom took her to a woman who was fondly called Ezewine. And after narrating the reason she was there, Ezewine went ahead and gave Osas a powder to rub on her face to make her find favor before Chief Efe. She also went ahead to give her a small ointment to rub on her private parts before meeting with Chief Efe, and that when she does all of that, Chief Efe will become her puppet and literally do anything that she requires of him. Osas was so happy and thanked Ezewine profusely as she left her presence. So the following day, Osas dressed up very nicely and applied the special powder as she went out. She went to a high-end restaurant, the same restaurant that Rihanna always spoke about that her father, Chief Efe, loved to visit frequently. She sat down waiting patiently, and immediately she saw Chief Efe walking into the restaurant. She walked up to him and said, "Hi, Chief," Osas said, while looking very seductive. And immediately Chief Efe stared at her. He started smiling and grinning like a child, then replied and said, fine girl, I like you." Chief Efe replied excitedly. And so, they spent a few hours together talking over food and drinks. And after which, they both went to Chief Efe's hotel room. Then Osas sneaked out to the toilet to apply the special ointment that Ezewine had given her on her private part before coming back to sleep with Chief. Immediately Chief was done sleeping with Osas, he became a different man. He looked into Osas's eyes and said, "Where have you been all my life? You're the sweetest thing that I have tasted since I became a man. Tell me what you want and I promise to do it for you. I want you to be mine and mine alone. Do you even have a car? Do you have a house of your own? What do you want?" Chief Efe asked, grinning like a child. Osas was very surprised. Wow, so this Kayamata and powder that Ezewine gave me is this powerful. Riona, You don't know what is coming for you. By the time I'm done with you, you will be on your knees begging me to leave your father alone. Osas thought to herself very happily. Then she smiled cunningly and replied Chief Ife saying, "No, Chief, I do not have a car or a house." Osas replied, sulking. And then Chief Ife replied and said, "Then we must change that today. You cannot have given me the premium treatment you gave me and not have a car or a house of your own." Chief Ife replied smiling. And so, later that day, he took Osas to a car shop to buy a brand new car for her. And still that same day, he went ahead and bought a house for Osas, then still gave her a whopping 5 million naira. Osas was so happy. She went back to her hostel that day, feeling so excited. She looked at Riona and said, "Guess what? I met an amazing man who bought me a car and a house in one day." Hey, hey. Osas said very excitedly. Can you imagine? You're not even ashamed of yourself. See how you're proudly telling us that you are a prostitute. Anyway, why am I even surprised? After all, that is the best that a poor person like you can ever become, a mere prostitute, Riona said mockingly. But instead of feeling sorry and bad, Osa simply smiled and said, "Only time will tell." So Osas continued to sleep with Chief Efe, and Chief Efe continued to spoil Osas silly with so much money. Meanwhile, Riona still continued to gush about how her father pampered her silly to Osas, not knowing that Osas was already sleeping with her father and milking him dry. But Osas was still not satisfied. She wanted Riona to suffer for mocking her for coming from a poor family. She wanted to steal Chief Efe away from Riona permanently. She wanted Riona to suffer as she turned her father's heart away from her. So one day, Osas came up with a perfect plan. She was going to let Riona know that she was sleeping with her father. And what better way to do it than on Valentine's Day? Valentine was fast approaching. So one day, Chief Efe called Osas and said, "My baby, how are you? Would you be my Val?" Chief Efe asked, smiling like a baby. "Yes, my love, I will be your Val. But what will you be getting me for Val?" Osas asked, sulking like a baby. "Anything you want, my love, just mention it." Chief Efe replied, grinning. "Okay then, I want you to come to my hostel and pick me up for a very nice date," Osas said, grinning from ear to ear. Meanwhile, Riona was in the hostel all the while Osas was making this phone call. And after she was done, Riona blotted out and said, "See what poverty has caused. Some people are busy sleeping with men old enough to be their fathers. Thank God for my dad though, he provides for me so that I don't have to sleep with men for money. I don't even have to beg men for a Valentine gift because I trust my dad. On Valentine's Day, he will definitely come through for me with loads and loads of gifts," Riona said scornfully. But Osas did not even bother responding. Rather, she just smiled on mischievously. So a few days later, and Valentine's Day was finally here. All three roommates, Riona, Princess, and Osas, were all in their rooms. Then Princess blotted out and said, "Who is going on a date today? Abi, you people do not have Valentine dates?" Princess asked, smiling mischievously. Well, I have a date and he's coming to school to pick me up to spoil me silly," Osas replied happily. "Date, care. So you call one of your clients or sugar daddies a date? Wonder shall never end. Well, as for me, three of my admirers have indicated interest in taking me out on a date tonight. Besides, even if that doesn't work, I trust my dad. I know he has a surprise planned out for me," Riona replied very proudly. So after a while, Princess left the room to run some errands, while Riona and Osa stayed back in the hostel. But later that evening, when Princess came back, she entered the room excitedly saying, Riona, I saw your dad's car outside and he came bearing gifts too. Your dad is such a perfect gentleman. God, when? Why did God not give me this kind of father now? Princess said excitedly. Oh, really? I said it. My dad will definitely pull up for me. Princess replied very proudly. But Osas just smiled as she put some finishing touches to her makeup. Fine girl. Where are you going dressed like this, eh? Princess asked Osas, looking excited. And Osas simply smiled and left, while Riona also hurried out to go and see her dad downstairs. Osas and Riona both went downstairs, and when Riona rushed to go hug her father, Chief Ife just shoved her aside, while Osas walked confidently into his arms, smiling and laughing. Daddy, what are you doing with Osas? What is this? Osas, what are you doing with my father? Riona said, looking very shocked. But Osas simply rolled her eyes and said, My love, let us go have a swell time. Osas said as she entered the car with Chief Ife, and they both drove off. Riona stood there looking very shocked. Osas and my father? Hey, I'm finished. So all this baby that this girl has been saying over the phone. So it is my father that this girl has been calling baby over the phone, Abi? So because of this girl, my father shoved me aside. Riona said aloud, tears already streaming down her eyes. Riona went back to her room, crying and wailing. Meanwhile, Osas was busy enjoying herself with Chief Ife. Riona tried to call her father several times, but he refused to pick his call. When Osas came back from her outing, she was surprised to see Riona waiting patiently for her. Immediately Riona saw her, she sprang up from her bed and said, You witch! So you are sleeping with my father, Abi? How dare you? Riona screamed at the top of her lungs. Well, what is good for the goose is good for the gander. Every time, my father this, my father that. Every single time you would mock me because of your father. Well, I decided to have a taste of your father. And I must tell you, he is very pleasant and has been spoiling me silly. Osas replied, smiling mischievously. And then Riona punched Osas and they started fighting. But in the days that followed, Riona noticed that her dad no longer picked her calls. Meanwhile, he would spend hours with Osas over the phone. Osas was very happy. She now started mocking Riona. By the time I am done with milking my baby, my chief, by the time I am done whining my waist for him, he will lose his senses. He will forget that he has a daughter or a wife. He will become my puppet and I will have full control of him. Maybe then, some people will learn to stop mocking other people and will stop flaunting their rich fathers in my face, Osas said very proudly. By this time, Riona could not even say anything. She was so sad and humbled. And things continued like this for a few months. As a matter of fact, not only did Chief Ife stop picking his daughter's calls, he also stopped sending her money. Riona was so sad. Meanwhile, Osas kept on coming back with one gift or the other and spending hours on the phone with Chief Ife. Osas was busy rubbing it on Riona's face. One day, Riona could not take it any longer. So she went on her knees and begged Osas, saying, Osas, please, I am sorry for all the hurtful things that I said to you, but please leave my father alone. I know that my father is not using his clear eyes. You have probably used kayamata or jazz on him. Please forgive me and please leave my father alone. I'm sure my mother is hurting where she is because my dad is cheating on her. I promise you that I'll never insult you or anyone who I think is lesser than me again. Please, Riona said, weeping profusely. Then Osas stared at her long and hard and then said, I am glad that you have learnt your lesson. It's fine. I will let your father be. I don't want him. I just wanted to teach you a lesson. I hope you never go about flaunting what God has blessed you with in front of other people who are less privileged. Osas replied haughtily, and Riona thanked her profusely. So in the days that followed, Osas cut off all ties with Chief Efe. After all, she now had a house and a car and had so much money. And her mother's chemotherapy treatment was also going on just fine. She was receiving the very best treatment in one of the biggest hospitals in town. A few months later, Osas wrote her final exams and graduated from the university with a first class. She was so happy. She had enough money to start a business, but still decided to get a corporate job instead. Rihanna, on the other hand, had learned a valuable lesson, never to mock people from their point of pain. Her father, Chief Efe, was back to his senses and spoiled his daughter, Rihanna, very silly. Chief Efe and Rihanna once again shared the beautiful bond that they once had. Hi besties, it's your favorite storyteller, Omalicha. Thank you so much for watching my story to the end. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on this one. Do you think that it served Rihanna right that her father was jazzed? Also, if you were in Osasi's shoes, would you have let Chief Efe go? Please share your thoughts with me in the comment section, and please support your homegirl, Omalicha, by subscribing to my channel, liking my videos, and sharing with your loved ones. So now, till I come your way again with more interesting stories, bye!